Okay, so I don't know what happened. Something happened. I was streaming and then I stopped streaming. And I didn't realize that I wasn't that people were gone. So I'm gonna go on and say what I was gonna say. And I'll let you guys know that I will be back. I'm gonna try to do the live streams as much as possible. Sunday evening might be a better day for me. I'm gonna ask people to respond and let me know if Sunday evening is a better day. It seems to be a little better for me because during the week stuff comes up. Stuff comes up with clients. So I'm thinking maybe from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Sundays might be a little bit better for me. Um, Let me know. Also, the class that I'm going to have on the 16th, I put the information out about the class on the 16th, prayerfully by Wednesday, but I want everybody to be aware that I will be doing an update, excuse me, on the things that I learned not only at this wealth creation seminar that I attended this past weekend, but some of the things that I've learned and been implementing, since the beginning of the year for clients and for myself. I know I'm repeating a little bit, but I think I lost everybody at some point or another because it just went down and I didn't realize it. So I said that I had been through something called a 40-day turn up. I lost 20 pounds. It was a very rigorous program, and that was part of the reason why you didn't hear from me because I was just so busy. I was really overwhelmed with all the things that I had to do, and making sure that I get on the treadmill when I get home, and making sure that I ate right, all of that stuff. And I'm gonna continue on, although the graduation was on the 13th of April. I'm gonna continue on because I wanna remain healthy. And I talked a little bit about Costa Rica. I don't know if you heard that, but I have a house in Costa Rica. It's 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. I was saying that I don't rent it out just to the general public. I rent it out to friends and friends of friends because number 1, it only has 1 bathroom. Number 2, down in that area, they cut the water off at random sometimes. So I didn't want to rent it out to somebody for a week and then after day 3 they cut the water off in the town, and that would be an issue. But with friends and friends of friends, I could explain to them about that and how to turn the water on because I do have a water tower in the back. So it's not like you would be without water. It's just that you have to go through something to go out and turn it on. But the thing about it is you have to turn it off because if you turn it on, if you get to turn it off and then the city water comes back on, then it'll drain the water tower. So that's an explanation. So the other land that I have some land in the hills near the sea. So it has a beautiful ocean view. And the other piece of property is near the beach, very close to the beach. So the name of one of my companies, I have 3 companies there. The name of the one that has the projects is Middle of Paradise. So we have Middle of Paradise Hills and Middle of Paradise Beach. And I was saying that it's hard sometimes. Oh, let me say this in a nice way. So all countries are different and everybody doesn't operate on the same pace. And United States is pretty fast paced and Costa Rica is on a different schedule. So a lot of times what may take us 3 days may take 3 months. And they're just not in a hurry like we are. And I can understand that. So what I'm doing is I'm in the process of getting permissions and permits and things like that. It's taking a long time. And that's okay because there's nothing I can do about it. But I wanted to let people know. I wanted to put it in your head that this project or these 2 projects are going on. At some point when all of the I's are dotted and all of the T's are crossed, then I'll be ready to say, "Hey, anybody ready to join our community in Costa Rica?" It's not one of those tiny homes or anything like that. The beach property has it's a master plan shipping container community, and not little tiny ones. I'm talking about, the larger ones, not tiny homes. So there's 6 models of homes that the company that I'm working with can produce, and then somebody, if they want a larger one, they can have their own custom home. The property is 54 acres, but I still haven't been told how many houses I can put on there. I was told 22, but I'm trying to get it higher. And then up in the hills, we're gonna have 8 or so. 5 of them are already gone, so we've got 3 more up in the hills for people who wanna be at a higher elevation. So I'm looking forward to, at least getting to the point where all of the hurdles have been jumped in Costa Rica. So now, thank you for the information about the baking soda. I was saying earlier that my throat is on fire. I'm trying to manage that. And I was talking about the concoction that I have here with my rosemary, lemon balm, and oregano from my yard, and some emergency so that I can get over this. So I'm going to check in the chat and see if there are any questions. I want you to ask questions. But that's where I've been: January, February, March, April, and so far in May. I have a couple of more trips planned to go down to Costa Rica, and I'll talk about that next. So let me check. Hi, Thomas. Okay, Sunday is good. Okay, Sunday's good. The 16th is the class that I'm having. I'm having, I learned some more wealth creation stuff. So it's going to be like a wealth freedom Zoom seminar. It's going to be on the 16th of this month, which is a Friday, and it's going to be from 7:30 to 9:30 Eastern. I tried before having these 3-day classes, like on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It didn't work out. I think people's schedules are just too full. So I'm going to try to not necessarily water hose you down with information, but give you enough information where you can start thinking about how to grow your income so that you can grow your wealth. So that's what that 16th was. Okay, Sunday evenings. And I think I want to do 7 so that people will still have a lot of time to get ready for their day. I'm going to have to hold on a second, guys. Sometimes you just have to push on through. I'm just pushing through. So, in October of this year, I am going to open up this whole Costa Rica thing for a tour. I put together like an announcement, a public announcement about it, not necessarily public, but you guys, about the fact that I want to start introducing people to the culture and the area and the food and all of that. So, yeah, the dates for October, and I'll put that information out a little later. It's going to be I'm going to be there October 11th through the 26th. Now, you don't have to be there that whole time. I am requiring that if you're going to go on the tour with us, you be there at least 6 of those days. So some people might come that first week. Some people might come that second week. We'll be doing, different tours and whatnot. I'm going to put out an itinerary for those days so that people can decide, but you'll learn about the culture. You'll get to see the beaches, learn the history, experience the food and all of that. And then, look at properties, all that, because I've been doing this since 2018. The first time that I ever stepped foot in Costa Rica, I had 2 investors with me because I told them, hey, I'm going down to Costa Rica. This one of my clients' brother's father-in-law wanted to sell this property and all that, and then they decided to come. And ever since then, I've had at least 2 people with me. One time I had 13 people. That was really interesting. But people have been coming with me, yet it's not been in an organized way. So I want it to be in an organized way, so we know what we're doing, because I know what I'm doing now. I know all the tours and where to take people and all of that. So if you are interested in actually taking a trip to Costa Rica, most of the people that are going, when they want to go when I go, because they don't know what to do and they feel more comfortable if somebody's there that they know. So, and now I'm going to start spending my time helping the people. So I'll put that information out probably after the class. So we have three things going on. We have the classes coming up, and that's going to be May the 16th. And then in October, between October 11th and 26th, I'm going to do this Caribbean coast tour. And then, of course, I'm going to put out the information when I can, after I get all of the permissions and permits and stuff about the property at Middle of Paradise Hills and Middle of Paradise Beach. So those are the announcements that I had. I'm going to go back in the chat. Why will you discuss issues such as foreign trust, etc.? Um, that's kind of complicated. I will say about foreign trust, a lot of people do have them. I've had them. There are things that are better protected when you have your foreign trust, but you can actually have trust that aren't foreign, that have clauses in them that say if somebody's trying to get information from you, then that trust will change jurisdictions. I've seen that in the law. Yes, Costa Rica tour. Yes, definitely. So I will say this: everybody's going to be responsible for their own airfare, because it's too much trying to coordinate people's airfare from all over. But I do have several hotels that I will be recommending, and giving you information so that you can stay in one of the hotels that'll be close, because I kind of want everybody close, because if there's a lot of people, then we're going to have a tour bus. The biggest group that I ever had, that 13 people, we had two large SUVs, and we were always just packing everybody up and going wherever we needed to go. But again, it was something that wasn't organized. We were just doing stuff. But I want organization, because I want people to see, especially people who haven't traveled a lot, that there's beautiful places that will provide what you need. We really need food, water, shelter, clothing, that kind of thing. And to be content with that will be fine with me. They don't have Amazon delivery. So if you're stuck on Amazon, the people that move to Costa Rica, or any other place like that move back quickly, is because they miss their creature comfort so much. But you can go back home every once in a while, or have people bring stuff to you. Okay, I'm here from Chicago. Oh my goodness, William. Whew, all I can think of is the cold. I just left for my stream got cut off, but I was telling you, I just got back from Indianapolis, Indiana this morning, and it was cold and wet. And I did have a jacket, but I think yesterday when we went to lunch, the place that we went to lunch was like walking distance away from the hotel, and I didn't have a jacket on, and I didn't, when I hit the door to go out, it was like, ooh, but then we had a short window for lunch, and me going all the way back up to the room to get the jacket didn't make sense, but maybe I should have, because I'm kind of paying for it now. But it was cold in Indianapolis, Indiana, yesterday and this morning. Hello. Let's see what else we have. Uh, any other questions out there before we move to the economy and these wars and stuff that are going on, y'all? Part of this, I think, is scare tactics, but part of it, there's some people that we will not name, that are pulling the strings in this country, and none of this is for our benefit. I am just so disheartened, I should say, that it really doesn't matter whether you have Democrats or Republicans in office if both sets of people are vagabond marionettes and their strings are being pulled by other people. And this is what's going on because there's some really weird stuff going on. How can somebody that's been appointed to a certain department that is supposed to be talking about things in that department start talking about protecting other people that aren't in this country? It's really mind-boggling. I don't want to say too much on here, but I think for the most part, my audience knows what I'm talking about. We can't depend on these people. We cannot depend on these people. Some good things will come out of it, prayerfully, but behind the scenes, a lot of bad stuff is going on. And if you just pay attention to CNN and CNBC and all that other stuff like that, you're not going to get the real story. You're not going to get the real story. Start paying attention to other news outlets like what is the one we on? I think it's First Point, and some of the other ones, even Rumble. Some things are out there. Some things are coming out about our health and the things that happened in 2020 and 2021 and the effects that other people were screaming at the top of their lungs about, and they were getting pushed aside as conspiracy people, but the stuff that they were saying is coming out now, and it, turning out to be true. So our health is in jeopardy, our wealth is in jeopardy, and we don't have time for TV. We don't have time for entertainment. We don't have time with all the stuff that's going on. Football, I think it's basketball now, maybe. I don't know. Whatever sport it is right now, just you can put that aside. Like I put sweets aside so I could lose this weight. Put that stuff aside and start focusing on for yourself and for your family. What do I need to do? Do I need to go get a second job? Do I have a business on the side? This lady, I was in a meeting today. I actually did go to a gathering today where she took her mother's recipe and started making juices and labeling her juices. It had turmeric and ginger and cane sugar. They were good juices and they were healthy juices, but she took the time to start marketing that so that she could make more money. Yeah, they were a little expensive, but they were freshly made. What skill do you have to offer the marketplace that you can start making some money right now, taking that extra money, getting some gold? Do you all know the gold is going over $3,000 an ounce? That's a good thing. That's a good thing. And there's several states, Florida, and I think it's Iowa, Texas, that are trying to bring gold and silver back in as being able to use silver and gold as opposed to just the fiat currency. So pay attention to those things. Let's see what we have here: metals, and more. Exactly. Uh, the corporate of the United States with changing faces. If the corporate every 4 to 8 years, yeah, I was talking to somebody about the different definitions of United States today and how many there are, and how are people supposed to know? Well, they don't want you to know. Stay vigilant as snakes, but innocent as doves. Exactly. There's a lot of snakes out there, and you got to be able to see what they're doing. Oh yeah, legal tender, Justin. Making silver gold legal tender again. Okay. S corp and cash flowing assets. Yes, I need you all to hold on again. I really do. I'm so sorry. Let's see. Let's get that out of the way. I don't know what that is. Oh, okay, I'm not gonna stay on much longer because I gotta take some. I'm gonna dose myself up with this concoction and some other stuff and some garlic so that I can get this out of my system. Let's see what we have down here. You should be on the Joe Rogan Experience. You know what? I wish I was. I wish I could be on the Joe Rogan Experience. I think I'm just too low of a flying net to be selected for Joe Rogan, but I would definitely love to be on there. I mean, I would just, because shows like his, it appears that you don't have to hold your tongue. I think that I don't know how many other ones, but a lot of times you have to hold your tongue. But I watch it every once in a while based on somebody else telling me what was on the Joe Rogan show. And people don't hold their tongues on there. And it's this is, I think that we need to be paying attention to the plot that is against us. Now, I know I have all kinds of races and ethnicities on here. Y'all got to know that they're trying to bait people for this race stuff. I know stuff goes on. I know there's shootings and all of this. And I know a little bit deeper about, how this stuff happens. But don't let these people race bait you. It's we don't need to be fighting each other. We, it's not us that's causing these problems. It's not us that's causing these problems. So just focus on making sure that you don't let the enemy in your gates, and making sure that your family is ready to escape the whole situation and not be locked down and tethered, especially, with debt. They're just keep toying with the student loan debt and all this other stuff. Don't worry about all that. Make sure you have, your food, water. What is that? Catherine Austin Fitz and um, Lynette Zane talk about your food, your water, your gold, your silver, your shelter, all of those. I want to talk with you about creating a trust and having a way to protect assets. So yeah, I have trust. I have a couple of trusts, and that's good for asset protection. So asset protection, wealth creation, all of those things are doable. Of course, you know that the wealthy have them. And I always say, if you do what they do, you can have what they have. A lot of times they try to keep what they're doing secret, but some of those secrets are out because I know them. I've seen it in action, and a lot more this weekend when I was in the wealth creation seminar than I had in the past. Okay, I'm also interested in the Costa Rica opportunities. Okay. Yeah, go to middleofparadise.com. I have information on there about Middle of Paradise Beach and Middle of Paradise Hills. And when I do the tour in October, people actually step foot on it. It's not like, I'm talking about this and it doesn't exist. Some people here in the chat have gone with me. Some people here in the chat have gone when I wasn't there, but I try to direct them to my boots on the ground team so they can see what's going on there. United, yes, we stand. Divided, we fall. And divide and conquer has always been the MO of the enemy. Even in biblical days, divide and conquer. And we need to just say, wait a minute now. So this guy over here down the street, he might be Caucasian, he might be Asian, he might be Native American, but he's in the same boat with me. Why would I be trying to fight him? It's those other folks that are taking all of our money and making us pay $8 for eggs. It's not him that I'm mad at. It's you. Food, water, shelter, security, communication, clothing, teach emergency preparedness. Definitely. You all need to have family meetings. Those of you that have children that are not in your home anymore, grown children, you all need to have at least a meeting every 6 months to talk about a strategy for the family. One of the things I learned this weekend, we don't need to be sending the children off when they're 18 and letting them go to college and not come back and all that. I'm working with a family that has 8 children. All of the children strategically work in the business. One of them does all the videography and had like 3 different computers and cameras and all of that. And then the other ones do a certain part of the presentation, and the other ones do another part of the presentation. And they're millionaires because the father started out knowing all this stuff a long time ago, and the children didn't buck him. They just came on in. And that divide and conquer thing I don't want to be in that business. I want to do this. I want to go off and do this. And then everybody ends up divided. How many of you remember when grandma used to live down the street and Aunt Emma used to live a couple of doors down, and back behind you that was Uncle Dave and all of that? when we get a strong family back together, I think that we'll get a strong country back together. I think that's why, they were dividing the people and trying to bring people into the city and with all the hustle and bustle and all of that. So let me see what else is Tango Delta. I appreciate the knowledge you drop every day. And I appreciate you saying that. I like doing this. Ooh, but it's getting interesting, y'all. It's getting interesting. The stuff that they're doing behind the scenes. Some of the stuff I can talk about, some of it I can't. I wish I put my house in a trust when I bought it last year because my information is all on the internet. Oh yeah. And a lot of people, wealthy people, when they get houses, they don't put them in their names. So I have the properties here. I have two properties here. One of them is in my name and one is not. Spell it for me. Okay, I need to the cost the Costa Rica the Costa Rica city. Okay, so the province, William, is Limon province, is on the Caribbean coast. So Limon province is the city of Limon and Talamanca and a whole bunch of cities. Cahuita, Puerto Viejo is the most popular one. That's the big beach town where they've got like the Salsa Brava waves, some waves that come in sideways or is popular. Then you have Manzanillo, just little bitty towns along the way. And it stretches about, I want to say 50 miles between Limon and Panama. So basically when I'm there, I'm driving up and down one highway, going back and forth, stopping in little towns. I go to their version of Home Depot is really close to my house, and my house is in Hone Creek. So Hone Creek is further south, and then south of that you have Puerto Viejo, and south of that you have Punta Uva, and then Manzanillo. Then you going north from Hone Creek where I live. The next town is Cahuita, and then you get into San Pinsert and San Clemente, and then you get all the way up to Limon. And Limon has a regional airport, does not have an international airport. So when I fly into Costa Rica, I have to fly into San Jose, which is the capital. It is in the center of Costa Rica. And I have two choices to get from the center of Costa Rica and the capital of San Jose to Limon. Number one, I can fly Sanza Air, and that's a regional airline. It's a 30-minute flight. Sometimes they're not reliable. Or I can take a 4.5 to 5.5 hour shuttle from the airport area and just watch the beautiful view. But I've found another way. We're gonna have a private shuttle. When I go the next time, we're gonna have a private shuttle, and it won't be as long because the public shuttle that you pay for stops at this restaurant for 45 minutes. But even before that, they stop at a lot of different hotels and pick up people. So our shuttle is gonna pick us up. We're all going to be in one place and then we're going to drive straight there. Of course, we'll stop, but we don't have to stop 45 minutes. So we'll end up getting there in 3.5 hours so I can pick up my SUV. And then he's going to take the rest of them to the hotel. So those are the cities. William, I hope that helped. Please let me know if that was enough. Okay, Thomas, love it. Juanita and I are training the grandchildren to be business owners. We have to teach our children how to have money work for them instead of just how to work for money. If you teach your children how to have money work for them when they're young, then they're gonna not want to work for money when they're older, which means they'll be entrepreneurs. There's a certain group of people who will not be named that they teach their children all about money when they're in elementary school, and our children in high school don't even know how to balance a checkbook. That doesn't make any sense. Okay, our passport and visa required, and what are the time frame they allow for stays? Okay, Ron, you have to have a passport, and you can stay. It used to be 90 days, and recently it went up to 180 days. So you can stay 180 days before you have to leave. Now, there are people that don't even ever get residency. They have homes there, they have businesses there, but every 6 months, it used to be every 3 months, but now every 6 months they just go across the border to Panama and come back. And then it's called a border run. The only issue with not getting your residency and trying to operate off border runs, there were people that had been in Costa Rica 17 years before the pandemic hit. When the pandemic hit, when it came time for them to do their border run, they had to leave, but they couldn't come back. And so their businesses, whatever happened to their businesses, some of them had to go back to the States and, where it was cold or they didn't have what they needed. It was, so residency is the best thing. If you can't get residency, you got to do the border runs. And it's always kind of stressful because I hear sometimes that, the guards sometimes give you issues getting back in. I hope that helped, Ron. 180 days. All right. What's your opinion on crypto? RXP is going to be a huge part in the new financial system. Justin, I like crypto. The fact that it's how do I want to say it? It's a disruptor from the status quo. I do have XRP. I do have other crypto. I don't know what I'm doing with it, but I have it. And we'll see. We will see. But I concentrate more on hard assets that I can hold in my hand or I can put my feet on. That's where most of my focus is. So silver, gold, and real estate. But I do have XRP. Hold XRP and takes loan out to buy more assets. Okay. How's your dad? Did he ever follow through with the channel you set up for him? So he does have that channel. I put some more stuff up on the channel. He's been busy. He's fine. He doesn't live close. He lives maybe about, I want to say maybe 30 miles away from me. And he doesn't know how to operate this stuff himself. So he could only do a video when he comes over here. And the times that we get together, like for birthdays and stuff, he just had a birthday. He just turned 82 on April 12th. My mom turned 81 on April 16th, but we had their party at a restaurant, so we didn't do a video. So he has been over here a couple of times since I did the video with him, but it was like rushing. He was coming to get some paperwork. He wanted me to copy some paperwork. So I will sit him down the next time he's here and do the videos, but his channel is Wisdom from the Elders. And I think it's hard to get to, but if you find it, it's that video. And I think I posted a few more things, some videos of him working on some machines. So I won't forget, y'all, the next time he comes over, and he's going to stay. As a matter of fact, let me write it down, because Mother's Day, he's coming over. We're having a cookout Mother's Day. So I'm writing it down so I can do a video with him on Mother's Day. Or he might stay a couple of days after that. Sometimes he just stays, and then we can do a video. Yeah, decentralized. It's a disruptor. Crypto is a disruptor. A lot of different things that are going on are disrupting the status quo. Hold the line with crypto. Okay. What is up with this push for the real ID? They've been trying to do that forever. I feel like it's another control push like 2020. Yeah. To see who's compliant. I think they know who's compliant, and I think they have an eye on those that aren't, and they're okay with the ones that are compliant. And it starts off with airlines, but I believe it will be more to it. I'm going to take a drink, and I'm going to tell y'all what happened to me today. It's still hot. So you have the option to have your picture taken with the TSA thing. So people are going in there, sticking their little, whatever their ID is in there, and they're standing in front of that camera. Y'all know your girl don't stand in front of the camera. So on the way to Indianapolis, I didn't know. I stuck it in there, but I stood away from the camera, and I said, I'm not taking the picture. She said, don't put your ID in there. She's looking at me like, well, you need to let me know in advance if you're not going to take a picture before you put your ID in there. I said, well, you were asking to put the ID in there. You didn't say that. I said, oh, okay. I know now. Thank you for letting me know. to let you know before I do anything that I'm not taking the picture. So he was cool, one on through. So this morning, when I went through TSA in Indianapolis, I stood away from the camera and I gave him my ID, and I said, I'm not taking the picture. He took my ID, put it under a microscope, and I was just talking to the ladies behind me about those people who have their phones and they try to do like this all the time, and it messes up. And one of the ladies tried to. I mean, I'm one of the TSA pre. One of the ladies tried to scoot through TSA pre, and she was something happened, and she couldn't go through. And then the TSA guy said, "You're not TSA pre. You need to go down there." So he said, "George, let her down there." And then we were looking like, what was she doing? She was holding up the line. And so when I got up there with my ID, I guess I shouldn't have said anything. I said, "Whoa, this is interesting. They don't do this in Atlanta. Take your ID and put it under a microscope and put it up under something else." What he was doing with my ID. And I was looking at the ladies behind me like, what is this man doing? Well, this ain't Atlanta. This is what he said. This ain't Atlanta. And, we're the best airline. And the airport and I'm thinking, Indianapolis, Atlanta is the biggest airport in the world. And you're talking all of that. But he actually literally put my eye. Well, when you don't want to take a picture, you're suspect. So we have to do this to your ID. And I didn't say anything else to him, y'all. I can't let people stress me out like that. What was that about? They don't do that in Atlanta. I just tell them, and I never take the picture. And it's like, nobody has ever taken my ID and put it up under a microscope, turn it over. And I don't know what he was doing to it, but anyway. So yes, it's a power grab. How much will you take? At what point will you resist? If you will resist. Now, remember that report that was done in 2010, funded by the Rockefellers, and it talked about how to basically get the people to be compliant. This is part of it. And you know what? We have to pick our battle. So, I wish I hadn't said anything. I just wish that I had just looked at him like he was crazy when he had my ID going, up under the microscope and whatever the heck he was doing with it. But, that's neither here nor there. I'm still not taking a picture. I'll hand them my ID. And as long as they don't burn it, I'm not going to say a word. Because I'm not going to, I don't want to be harassed when I'm traveling. So you're right about that. Push for the real ID. And by the way, I do have a passport card. The passport card is acceptable, and I use that. I keep that in my purse. I don't give them the driver's license. I give them the passport card because there's certain information that is that's not on the passport card that's on the driver's license. Okay. Okay. Justin is talking about Caleb Brown in Australia about crypto. Yeah, the IRS and Federal Reserve are done. Everything will be operating out of the Treasury. I'm hoping so. People keep asking me, guys, about what do I think that President Trump is going to get rid of the insidious representatives of Satan, better known as the IRS? First of all, you got to know that the president is not really the one that's running the country. So many times that IRS has come up to be abolished, and it was the Senate that said no. So this is a power grab. Nothing but a power grab. Like Mr. C, the GC15 said, this is a power grab. And I don't know. I'm not holding my breath, put it like that. Why not take the picture? Why would I want my picture in their system more than it already is? Because I have the right to keep my image and my likeness to myself. That's why. I just don't feel like it. They got enough of my pictures. They got prison pictures or wherever surveillance pictures they are. They have enough of them. I don't want all of that. Just no. I'm the sheep that's going in a different direction and saying, hey, y'all watch out. It's a slaughterhouse up there. It's a slaughterhouse up there. Anyway, anybody else got any questions? Because I'm going to go and drink the rest of this and try to knock this out. I will try to come back at least one more time on a Sunday evening. Of course, you know that next weekend is Mother's Day weekend, and I will not be here. Let me get my old trusty calendar out. You all know I'm old school, right? I know you guys have your apps and you have your calendars and stuff like that on your phones, and you put all that in your phones and stuff like that. But I need a calendar, y'all. Y'all see this? That was last month. This is what my calendar looked like for April. This is how I keep things in order. This is how I roll. So I'm looking at I have a class that I'm supposed to teach on the 18th. The family's coming over next weekend and they probably won't be gone by 7. So it looks like I may be on when I go, I'll be in Costa Rica on the 25th, and the next time I'll be on then is going to be the class on the 16th. I'm going to put the information out in the YouTube post, and I'm going to put the information out on my subscription list and on YouTube, wherever I can, about the information of the link for the class. But and that's going to be the 16th. But the next time I'll actually be doing a live is going to be the 25th. I'll be in Costa Rica and trying to get things done, trying to get prepared. I'm that forerunner, y'all, trying to get everything prepared. Thank you. Wonderful to see you. Thank you, Katrina. It's Katina. I'm sorry. There was a post on TS that said you and Joe have been brought into work for the Treasury Department. Okay, let's read that again, Laura. There was a post on TS. I don't know what TS is, that said that you and Joe, I'm assuming Joe Bannister, have been brought into work for the Treasury. I don't know anything about that. I'm not working for the Treasury Department. Um, Irania Johnson, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. I don't want to take the picture. I don't have to either. And by the way, if you have children that are, they don't have to have a passport. They don't have to show their ID. I saw a man do that one time. He doesn't need it. Where's his pay? He don't need a passport. He's underage. Yes. Thank you for all that you have done. True Social and Joe Bannister. Yeah, so send me an email at connect@sherrypeeljackson.com about me and Joe working for the Treasury, or somebody wanted us to work for the Treasury. I don't know anything about that. They owe me anyway. So anyway, you all, it is Sunday evening. You all have a wonderful week. Do something this week to prepare for your future, because nobody else is going to do it. Y'all have a good one. Bye.